appreciate you saying, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert.
And when well,
he's not a doctor either.
I have, and everything we do, we talk to the doctor about it. We get their best advice. I mean, that's kind of the medical interactions we've had on it. Look,
is there not a risk for public health officials when there are literally kids dying right now of measles?
Well, I mean, yes. If you don't have a vaccine, I guess there is a risk of getting the measles. I mean, I think the death rates are low on it, but this makes me nervous because, you don't want to give people an idea that getting a vaccine is somehow adverse when that's not been the case, and when it might have, an obvious benefit. So yeah, this whole conversation makes me somewhat nervous about it, and I just, again, my advice would be parents, talk to your doctors, get the best personal medical advice you can get.
Can I go a little further than Scott on this? The Secretary of Health and Human Services is grossly out of step with both experts and public opinion on this issue. Number one, he's incorrect with the things he's citing. Encephalitis being one of the things he talked about in his comments. You have a 1 in 1 million chance of getting encephalitis with the measles vaccine. You got a 1 in 1,000 chance of dying of measles. Like, so if you actually get it. And given how communicable measles is, far more than whether it's chicken pox or COVID or any of these other things that we see every day, people can die from comments like this. And so not only is he just out of step, whether it's politically or logically, he's also misstating information that is detrimental to people's public health.
Let's watch what Elliot here is talking about, because we can play that section of the interview with RFK where he talks about, and again, underscoring Elliot's comments, the FDA has shown this vaccine that RFK Jr. is going to talk about here in this clip as being safe and effective. Watch.
But if people don't want it, the government shouldn't force them to do it. There are adverse events from the vaccine. It does cause deaths every year. It causes all the illnesses that measles itself causes, encephalitis and blindness, etc. And so people ought to be able to make that choice for themselves. And what we need to do is give them the best information and encourage them to vaccinate. The vaccine does stop the spread of the disease.
So can I also say, Jonah, one of the things that RFK Jr. has not done is say that he would encourage people to vaccinate. I mean, he is saying it in that clip, but in the interview that I did with him, I pushed him repeatedly on this, and he tried to flat out lie to me and say, I never said vaccines are not safe and effective. I played the clip for him. And then the other thing that he had said just within again, this is all within the last 2 years, was that he literally would stop people on a trail and say, don't vaccinate your babies, right? It's the opposite of what he's saying there.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with talking about RFK Jr. is people want to defend him, will say he's right about a lot of stuff, but he has some crackpot ideas. The problem is he's a crackpot who's right about a couple things, but for the most part, he's a crackpot. Look, I'm a conservative. I can wax poetic about all of the things I missed from the good old days. The days when everyone got measles is not one of them, right? I mean, I looked it up on the CDC. It's like 500 people a year would die from the measles before the measles vaccine, in a good year. That's the time he's nostalgic for. The death rate from measles statistically vanished and literally went to zero after we got the vaccine, and he cannot bring himself to fully endorse any vaccine because he's locked into this whole crackpot industrial system that he's helped build up that is anti-vax.
And just for the benefit of our viewers, to fact check another point that he made there, talking about blindness, the CDC has said that blindness is not a side effect of the measles vaccine. He's just stating untruth after untruth, and people buy that crap, and it's dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous, and I think that this whole anti-vax conspiracy theory that he has said for quite some time is mainly because in last Trump administration they tried to politicize as much as possible the COVID pandemic, right? And every parent remembers the COVID pandemic. Every parent remembers when this country was shut down. Every parent remembers when you had to homeschool your kids. We lost family members because of it. If there is a measles outbreak across the country because this administration has not encouraged people to get vaccinated and they haven't taken the actual steps to protect the American public, and they haven't had a campaign to educate people, then I really do think that this impacts Donald Trump. It'll be interesting to hear what the White House has said about this, because if you're in the White House sitting there like, what is this guy? What is he doing? Right? This is something that every parent, I think, should be terrified about.
All right. Coming up next here for something totally different, the shell-shocking discovery at New Jersey's Newark Airport. You'll see what we did there.